All right, folks, welcome back to our channel, our Toga Brother channel. I am with you guys today, and we're going to do something different than my last. If you guys know, my last one was all about talking how to convert military time into regular time. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're going to do something kind of similar to that. We're going to talk about phrases and words that you guys might hear us use on a regular day-to-day basis that you're like, "Huh? What? What are they talking about?" Okay. So, um, yeah, we are gonna go through a couple of words here, and I have written them down, as you can see, and I just added a few. Okay? All right. So, the first word is tug. T-U-G. Okay? And I'm gonna be interactive with you guys. I'm gonna write them down in chat so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, believe it or not, Tug is an actual company. A Tug is a business that creates these tractors. Now, I don't know if it actually stands for anything. You know what? That's a good question. Um, Let me pull up this tab and see if we get any result, because I suspect it actually stands for something. It actually does not. Yeah, so tug was an actual name for it by T with G. But basically what a tug is, I don't know if any of you guys have been around ships. You guys know that big tugboat that's in front and in the back of it and sometimes to the side? It's not a very big ship or boat. It just has a lot of torque and a lot of power to basically pull and push, and not the entire thing, but it's to basically assist with the movement of a gigantic ship, okay? In and out of port, in and out of tight spaces, what have you, and thus forward, okay? A cargo tug does the same thing, okay? All a tug is, it's a tractor. That's all we're referring to. It's a cargo tractor that pulls, okay, freight and bags. And by that's a good one. Okay. It's going to pull freight or bags. Okay. Now that brings me to my next part, right? So you're going to hear a lot of times, oh, we had a lot of freight today. Okay. Freight is just, so some of these words are going to be synonymous. So cargo is freight plus mail. Okay. That's what cargo is. Okay. So you got freight and mail. That's cargo. Okay. Now, the tricky part is it can also be known as bags. The technical title of me is cargo loader and cargo unloader, because my job title, ground handler, is underneath. Okay, so you have UAL, right? I work for United. Okay. Under that, you have aircraft operations or airport ops, AO. Then you have ground handlers. Then you have um, other areas as well, baggage handlers and all that other good stuff. Okay. But we're all technically ground handlers. However, UAL has customer service, they have move team, They have, um, ticketing, which is technically customer service. They have, cargo and a couple others. Okay. Now, CS is pretty easy. They deal with customers, right? The move team, they deal with planes. Okay. Ticketing deals with luggage. Now, cargo deals with luggage, stroller, mail, freight, and other personal belongings. Okay. As you can see, cargo has quite a big source of assets available and allocated to them because they have quite a bit of stuff to be able to be responsible for, right? Okay. We're aware of that? We clear. Okay. So, now that you understand that, that is why cargo is not just freight and mail, it's also bags because we are loading and unloading bags along with freight and mail. Your Christmas cards, your holiday cards, your um your bills, unfortunately, all of your letters to your pen pals, all of your magazines that you like to read. That's in mail. Okay. That gets shipped on planes, that gets shipped on other things as well. You should really go Google the history of Delta. Delta was the first to do that, by the way. Um, some fun fact for you, okay? And that's what Delta Airlines actually started as, was a mail carrier, right? That's what they did, they carried mail, and then they started adding passengers, okay? Um, I don't work for Delta, so I don't know the full history. In one of our other podcasts, that we'll be doing later on is we're gonna do the major 4 history of. We're gonna do American, we're gonna do Delta, we're gonna do United, we're gonna do Southwest. Those are the 4 major carriers, okay? Um, so there you go, we've covered cargo. The ramp, get ready for this, the ramp is an area used to load or unload cargo. Okay. Now, technically, it is also an area used to load and unload passengers. Okay. But that's an exception because some of these airports, some of these stations, there's another one. Okay. I'm adding more words as I go, so stay with me here. Okay. This is going to be kind of like a class. We're going to teach you some words. Okay. Um, some stations do not have jet bridges for you to walk to the aircraft. They actually have to escort you to the aircraft and let you board via a staircase. Okay. And you'll see this when you get to some airports. It's pretty interesting. So that's what is called a ramp. It's not a physical incline, not a ramp, but it's an area used to load and unload aircraft. What does a ramp look like? Good question. A ramp literally looks like a gate area. When you pull the plane up to the gate, to the jet bridge, that's a ramp. Over in the cargo area where they have the plane stored, loading the cargo, that's also known as a ramp. Okay. We've covered freight. So, freight, what is the difference between freight and mail? Simple. Mail is just an article or an item that is addressed to you for you and your personal needs, right? And it's usually from a government entity or from a business. Okay. Now, freight is different than mail, and mail is different than freight. Okay. Freight is a good or service that is being used to um, for the benefit of one another. What do I mean? I mean, it could be a box, it could be a sack, it could be a container, it could be anything. So, freight is anything that is other than mail, okay? Minus baggage. Baggage is not freight, okay? Because baggage belongs to you, the viewer, the people watching, the flyer, the passenger, okay? So, it could be a box, it could be a sack, and by sack, I mean like a garbage sack or a cloth sack, a tarpon sack, anything that's not a physical box, okay? It could be, um, a bag. Sometimes we have, like, bags, like important, document bags that we have to go. That's called freight. Um, what else? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so now we're gonna go into what's called a cart. Now, when you think of a cart, you think something to pull stuff, right? Well, yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's a cart. Duh. But for us, a cart is what we use to connect to the tugs, the tractors. Okay. Now that you guys know what some of these words I'm used are, I won't be using what they are. I'm going to be using the term. You guys with me? So instead of calling it a tractor, I'm going to call it a tug. Okay, because we've kind of like minor reviewed these, right? And at the end, I'll review them all for you. Because remember, I've got a whole lot. I've got a whole lot. I have a whole list for you right here. Basic words that you're gonna hear. Okay. All right. So a cart is the towable container for cargo or bags. Okay. It's just a big old metal container that has shelves, or it's just an open container with doors, okay, usually cloth. It's actually used. You guys know those inflatables, right? The moon bounce inflatables? It's actually a curtain like that material, very sturdy, very thick, very weather resistant. It can actually withstand um like high winds, like stage 4 high winds, okay? And it won't break. All right? So it's usually held on by like hooks. Anyway, um so that one is going to carry freight or bags and or mail, okay? So it's used to it's a towable container for mail, cargo, or bags. You got it? Okay. We've already gone over mail, so I'm gonna skip that one. Now, the next one is bags. Okay. Simple guys. We're just talking about your luggage bags. That's all. Nothing fancy, nothing frilly, just bags. Okay. So when they say, yeah, how many bags do you have on board? We're actually asking you how many luggage bags, how many carry-on bags, how many purse bags do you have? Okay? How many things do you have that is carrying a product, an item, or a good? Okay? Um, Now, some of you guys have heard us use this, and some of you guys don't know what this means. Some of you guys do. For those that don't, we're going to talk about this. So, when we say our next arrival is at 12:45, what we're really saying is our next plane that landed, okay? And here's the kicker. Here's the second part. At the gate. So, we're not talking about when it hits the runway. We're talking about when it approaches the gate. Okay? We've already so think of it this way. So, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I think I talked about it in one of my videos. And I'm going to use oh well. Okay. It fell back behind the side. So, stay with me here. Okay. This, 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 and this all belong to FAA. Okay? That's why there's different frequencies there. It all belongs to FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. That's what it stands for. Okay? Got it? Now, anything inside of these two things right here, anything inside of here is monitored, controlled by a different organization. Don't get this confused though. FAA is still monitoring this area. They're still aware of what is going on. And the company that's controlling this area is still aware of what's going on in here. Okay? Think of this as the state law. Think of this as the entire world law. This takes precedence over this, but they're both equally as strict, if that makes sense to you guys. Are you following me? Okay, so when we mean an arrival, we mean the plane has landed on the runway. You see these letters here? These are gates, okay? These squares, this is a terminal and a top view. Very, 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 very broad, okay? I didn't want to go into detail, but I just kind of did this for scale, okay? This was the main terminal. This was the back end of it, and these are the other terminals in Dulles. Okay, so it lands. It's then going to taxi to a taxi lane. Okay. Then it's going to park at a gate. Now, at that point, we say the aircraft has arrived. Are you following me? Now, for those of you, technically, it's arrived here because it is landed in the area. But for us people in aviation, it hasn't arrived yet because you never know. It could have issues here. It could have issues here. It could have been changed to another taxiway and had gotten assigned to another gate. It could have even moved to another complete area, right? Far away from this particular area, up in a secondary holding area. Not even arrived yet, but it's staying there for hours. So, are you on the same page with me now? So, when we say an arrival, okay, yes, it has arrived into the airport. But the most important part that you're forgetting about, it has to be at the gate. Okay? You understand that? Okay. So, if that's an arrival, what do you think a departure is? Simple. It's that same aircraft or any craft or any aircraft thereof pushing out from a gate. Okay? It's a live flight. There's another one. Okay? It's a live flight that needs to be loaded and ready to push from a gate and taxi. Okay. Now, once it goes into the taxiway, believe it or not, the pilot and co pilot is in charge of it at that point. Okay. We're just your ground handlers. We're trying to get the aircraft onto the taxiway on its way to the runway. Okay. And then the flight deck, the captain and co-captain and all them, they will take over and take care of you guys. The flight attendants and all them, they'll take care of you. Okay. But they really can't step and work outside of the aircraft. They don't have anything to do out there. That's not their responsibility. So that's how they have us, the ground handlers. We are responsible for unloading and loading up the cargo, the goods, the bags. You get it? Okay. So the next one I'm going to talk about is station. And then the next word, I'm going to skip this next word and go right into this third word, a hub. Okay. A station is also, okay, hear me out. A hub is also a station. A station is not also a hub. Let me repeat that. A hub is also a station. A station is not also a hub. Kind of crazy, kind of screwed up here, right? Doesn't make sense? Okay. A station is a fancy word for saying airport. You understand that? So when I say my station or their station or um Asian station, it just means an Asian airport. It means a um Latin airport. It just means a European airport. It just means an African airport. Okay. That's all it means, right? But a hub is different. A hub, you guys ready for this? A hub is a home base station slash airport. Okay. You'll hear this all the time. You'll hear, oh, where is such and such based out of? Or where is such and such a hub? Isn't that a hub for so and such such? Okay. Prime example. I work for America. I work for American. I used to. And go watch my video. I talked about the history of the companies and the airlines and contractors I worked for. It's actually pretty interesting. All right. There's a couple I have not worked for, and I'll get there eventually, but you guys can just follow me here. So they always say, United, aren't they based out of Chicago or aren't they based out of Houston? The answer is yes. Okay. To both questions. But technically, United was based out of Chicago. That's where it all started. Chicago O'Hare, right? ORD. Now, I'm not talking about Midway, which is MDW. I'm talking about ORD. Okay. Because you have MDW, which is Chicago Midway, and then you have ORD, Chicago O'Hare. What's funny? It's a 30-minute train ride from Chicago O'Hare to Chicago Midway. Why? How that is? I don't know. Okay. But Chicago Midway is one of, I'm pretty sure, hear me out, Southwest's hubs. Okay. I believe the Dallas Love Field is their primary hub for Southwest. But what it means is where their home base is located. Okay. In in United, okay, UAL, we currently have 7 hubs. Okay. We have, let's go from the West Coast. And you bear with me because I may move some of them around. But we have SFO. You guys should know that's San Francisco. We have LAX. Don't really have to go much further there, right? You can kind of already figure out that's Los Angeles, right? Why the X there? I don't know. Okay, moving along. We have Denver, right? Denver, Colorado. Then we have Chicago O'Hare. Okay. Before we go any further, we have IAH, which is International Airport of Houston. Okay. George Bush International. So we have five there, right? Then we have Newark. And then we have IAD, right? Now, there is talks about them having added Las Vegas as a hub and I believe MCO as a hub. Or is it Tampa? It's either Tampa or MCO. One of those two. Okay. So what it means is of those seven, okay, in the comment section that I've added down there, right? Or down there, it means that most of the business, for example, let's take Denver. The airports that are around Denver, their main business area is Denver. That's, for example, let's say, let's maybe Milwaukee. Okay, let's say Milwaukee. Milwaukee would probably be Chicago O'Hare, but let's imagine Chicago not being a hub right now. Okay, if Milwaukee, right, was having problems or issues in their airport, then they would most likely bring you to Denver and find you a flight from Denver to anywhere. Make sense? You guys understand that? So a station, let's go back to what I was originally telling you. A station is not a hub, but a hub is also a station. A station is just an airport, but a hub is a home base. You guys see the comparison there? Now, does it make sense how a hub is also a station, but a station is not a hub? You get that? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go over four more words, and that'll be the end of it because we're getting around the 30-minute mark. Okay. I like to keep mine between 30 minutes to an hour so you guys have some content to listen to while you're flying, while you're doing house chores, or just kind of driving around, right? Okay. I'm going to go back up to the top here because I skipped a word. Okay. I'm going to use the word tow bar. Now, a tow bar is just what it says. It's a bar used for pushback. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Do you know when you guys are inside the cabin of the aircraft, right? The main cabin where you sit down? Now, when you sit down and they give you the safety speech and they give you um the discussion over the intercom via the pilot about what's going on, the weather and all that good stuff, and all of a sudden you feel a jerk, okay? Well, you're actually feeling two minor jerks. One of them you really have to pay attention to feel it, but the other one you will definitely feel it, okay? The very first one, what's going on is the pilot is releasing the brake pads or whatever, the braking system that holds the plane at the gate from rolling around. So it's releasing the pressure, okay, to allow us to push the plane as it's in neutral. Okay. That's what's going on. The plane is now in neutral. Okay. When it releases the parking brakes. So that bar is attached to our tractor, our pushback tractor. Okay. And allows me to push back. And if I need to move it around, now we're in what's called a tow. You get the point now? A tow bar. It's a bar used to tow. The funny part is it's primarily used to push back, not tow. Okay? Um Otherwise it'd be very difficult to manually push a plane back with people. I don't even know if that's possible. Okay. So we're going to go through three more words. Stay with me here. We're almost done. Okay. A scanner. We're not talking about a picture scanner. what you guys might think. All we're talking about is our little device that we have on us that has a barcode reader that allows me to scan the barcode of your bag, okay, and decide whether it's a transfer bag, whether it's a heavy bag, whether it's a really heavy bag, or whether it's a first class bag, whether it's a regular business bag, whether it's a coach bag, what have you. Okay. Um, a lot of other stuff and other information. So let's say that originally you get to the airport and you're going to San Francisco, but then you get to the podium and the podium then says, it looks like we are either oversold or um, there's an available flight that you might be able to get a ticket for. We can take care of that for you. Okay. So then they would then reroute you to, say, Cincinnati. How would we know that? The tag only says Chicago, right? Just go with me here because I'm pretty sure I screwed that up, but go with me here. um, so how would we know that it needs to go to Milwaukee? You know how? Because when we scan it, it's all going to the intranet. It's all going to the server. It's all going to the data network. That data network then relays that information on my scanner. It tells me, okay, instead of going to Chicago, send it to Milwaukee because this customer, this passenger, has now rerouted themselves to a new destination. So I close your ears for those of you guys that believe in magic and believe in superstition. I hate to be honest with you guys, but it's not magic that it just shows up there. There's a lot of things that go on and take place that ensure your bag gets to your destination. Okay. Um, the other word that we're going to talk about, so a scanner is just a barcode reader. Yeah. So when they say, oh, like in some of my videos, when I tell you I'm going to grab my scanner device, that's all it is. It's just a barcode reader. Okay. And we have to have that for every flight. Okay. Otherwise, we wouldn't know where to send your bags. We wouldn't know what to load. We wouldn't know where to load it. All that information is on there for us conveniently. Okay. Last two words. Okay. We're going to talk about a wand. Now, what is a wand? I know a lot of you guys call them sticks, right? A wand is just a sticks with light. Okay. Now, during the daytime, we have what we call day wands. Day wand is just a big old stick. Imagine this being like a piece of. Do you guys want to know the secret? So, some of these wands, it's just a piece of PVC. It's a PVC pipe like you would on your watering system inside your house, right? Those orange pipes or those white pipes. It's typically the orange pipes, the really thin ones, about that long. And it's about, I don't know, a foot, maybe foot and 3 inches. Okay. But we just hold it in our hands and we use it to marshal the plane, right? And marshal is just to park. That's another common phrase. Okay. So a wand is a stick with or without a light. Now, for daytime use, we don't need it to be lit unless it's inclement weather or low visibility. Okay. Those are two scenarios where it must be lit. The second one is nighttime ops. Now, during the night, you cannot see a piece of PVC pipe. So we have what we call night wands. Night wands are just a pair of glow sticks, very bright glow sticks that the pilots can see as they approach the gate. Unfortunately, I don't have a set of glow sticks with me. I'll have to go see if I can find you our day wands and show you what they look like, but I don't have a set of night wands. I do, in fact, have in one of my videos, I pulled out some wands and showed you what they looked like all lit up. So go look at them. And if you watch my videos, that thing I'm holding is night wands. They're lit wands, they're lit sticks. Okay. Now, we've gone over all these words. Okay. But we forgot one of the most important words out of this entire thing. Which one do you think that is? Flight. That's what this whole channel's about, right? It's about flight. Okay. So, a flight is basically just another fancy word for a plane. That's all it is. Okay. But for us, a flight is either terminating or what we call live. Okay. Now, a live flight, like it shows, like I'm doing now, I'm doing this live. You're hearing me in real time, right? So when the plane comes into park and you hear everything ready, all the systems, all the stuff going on actively, it's a live flight, which means it's going to be loaded and it's going to depart. If it's a termination, all it means is once it's done being offloaded and secured, it's not going anywhere, right? It's a termination. It's terminating, right? It's staying there. Okay. That's pretty much it, guys. So let's review, but I'm not going to go into detail. A tug is just a tractor that pulls freight or bags. Cargo is freight, mail, or bags. A ramp is an area used to unload and load cargo. Okay. Freight is just a box, sack, or bag of goods. Okay. You with me? Okay. We have a cart. It's just a towable container for loading or unloading freight, cargo, or bags. Okay. Mail, pretty much common sense. It's an item from a government or a business. Okay. Tow bar, it's a bar used for pushback. Bags, just a fancy word for luggage. An arrival. Now remember what I said before. Let's see who can catch this. An arrival is a plane that landed. Somebody should stop me there. It's wrong because it's landed and at the gate. If it's not at the gate, it's not arrived. Okay. A departure is a plane pushing back from the gate. Okay. Like when we say, what time does it depart? We don't mean taking off the runway. We mean what time are the brakes released and the plane rolling back onto the taxiway. Make sense? For an on time departure. Okay. A station is just an airport. A scanner is just a barcode reader. A hub is a home base station or airport. A wand is a stick with or without light. Okay. And a flight, it's just a fancy word for a plane. A terminating or live flight. Okay. You guys are with me? Make all sense, right? Okay. So now that you guys are aware and you guys have listened to my podcast, I'm going to be referring to these words more consistently now. Okay. Now, if you need to, pause this so you can have this, so you can realize these words will be used more often than not. Okay. If you want to impress your friends, use these words too. They'll be like, where do you know this? Like, I don't know. Just kidding. You can tell them I told you. It's up to you. But if you want to take all the credit, which I don't know why you would, but you can tell them that you learned them from somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So those are all the words for tonight. Let's see. I've taught you the phonetic alphabet. I've taught you how to use military time, and I've taught you common aircraft and aviation terms. by now, we all should be av geeks, right? If you watch some of my content, we all should be av geeks. Now, you don't have to be as big of an av geek as I am, but you should be starting your journey to become an av geek. Ah, you know what? I should do that. I should do another podcast on becoming an av geek, how to become an av geek in certain ways. Now, some av geeks are going to be extreme and some av geeks are going to be very mild, but they all start from somewhere. They all learned the art of aviation, right? All right, guys. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm going to do that. And are you guys ready for the outro? We're going to do this together. I'm Sean. I'm the Tugger Brother. I am out.